What's up, YouTube? Capital G. Gonna talk about Tyler Tabman's top deck from or his top 16 deck from YCS Philly. It's Final Countdown. It's a deck a lot of people hate dueling against, myself included. It seems very tedious to even play the deck, but it was obviously the most interesting thing to come out of YCS Philly. As I mean, basically, then the whole top 8 was just like Chaos Dragons and Rabbit. The whole top 4 was just those 2 decks, it seems. And I mean, this is a degenerative deck, but I mean, it was pretty much the only original thing that came out of it. Now, the second that Card D came out, one of the things that basically a lot of people looked at it as a card like One Day Apiece, where you kind of knew it was going to help, you know, these kind of solitaire FTK-ish type decks and stuff like that. Maybe to a lesser extent, because decks with alternate win conditions, stuff like Chain Burn, Card D was going to help a lot. Final Countdown would definitely be in that, because it gives them immediate +1s. They can set their cards, or they can play their, you know, their battle phase skippers, and they can just continue with their win condition and stuff and such like that. Let's go over his deck list. 3 copy of Card D, 3 copy of Swift Scarecrow, 1 copy of Morphin Jar, 1 copy of Gores, 1 copy of Sangan. 3 copy of Final Countdown, 3 copies of One Day Apiece, 3 copies of Gold Sarcophagus, 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, 3 copies of Pot of Duality, 1 copy of Dark Hole, 3 copies of Threatening Roar, 3 copies of Thunder of Ruler, 3 copies of Frozen Soul, 3 copies of Hope for Escape, and 3 copies of Wabaku. Now, Card D, again, it's one of the reasons why you would try this deck now. My only problem with Card D, and this was because the Argentina Nationals just happened, and the guy who won the event played Final Countdown as well. He didn't play any Card Ds, is it does open up, you know, a lot of your opponents, your Torrentials, and things like a Fett Veiler, Book of Moon. Like, it makes a lot of those cards live, versus if you would have ran something like Time Lord, you know, or Battle Fader, where you can torrential it, but I don't give a shit. I mean, you can't really book it. Like, once I use the effect, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, you're letting your opponent essentially kind of get utility out of those cards like Book and Torrential and a Fett Veiler. That really shouldn't hurt your deck at all, because Swift Scarecrow and Sangan should be really the main cards that you're playing against your opponent to stop them from basically raping you and, you know, getting out your life points. So Card D, definitely a good card, but, you know, I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary. Some other things to know about this deck. Hope for Escape is an amazing card. I don't think people even know what it does, but you pay 1,000 life points, and then basically for every difference that is 2,000 life points, you get to draw an extra card. Now, when you're playing stuff like Final Countdown, that's obviously 2,000. That's 1 card right there. When you're playing things like Upstart Goblin, you know, that's 1,000. You can let your opponent attack you, you know, stuff like that. So if your opponent hits you with a big monster like a Lagi or something like that, I mean, you can easily draw 3 cards off of this card. And I mean, from there, you basically just ride it out. I mean, Lagi can only negate so many things before every single turn you have a Wabaku or a Thunder of Ruler or a Frozen Soul or something like that. Another thing that you have to know about this deck is you have to know your rulings. You know, why Wabaku doesn't make you actually skip your draw phase. Cards like Frozen Soul, if you chain that to something like Thunder of Ruler, they actually stack. So if this card, if you activate Thunder of Ruler, and then later in the turn your opponent like MSTs your Frozen Soul that is set, you can chain Frozen Soul, and your opponent will not skip their next, but they'll skip the one after that. It's like Reckless Greed, like they stack, you know what I mean? So definitely something to know there, just about basic rulings. The side deck is actually pretty interesting for a deck like Final Countdown, a deck that kind of has its own win condition for the most part, and I'm starting to see this out of it's the same basic build. You have Lava Golems and stuff like that to basically control, you know, the Dino Rabbit matchup, although I could see Volcanic Queen being probably better, because you don't want your opponent losing 1,000 life points, and if your opponent just puts Lagi on the board and then stops, I mean, you might be fucked with a Lava Golem versus like a Volcanic Queen. And then again, the only thing that this deck really cares about is just Royal Decree. So you got Heavy Storm, MSTs, and this deck, since it can take a lot of time, 20 turns, they basically go really, really gay troll type on you. And if they go into game 3, they're going into time, all they do is they side in burn cards. They'll side in Poison of the Old Man, Secret Barrel, you know, Golden Ladybug, just ways to make their life points higher. And then they'll probably like side out the Upstart Goblins and the Final Countdowns and stuff. So the deck can be really, really gay like that. But let me know what you guys think. I'm not advocating people play this deck. I just wanted to spotlight it because it was the most interesting deck that came out of the top 32. Thank you for watching.